right, welcome back. Welcome back. The show is called Job Talk 1 here in Southern California. Heard all over the country. We have listeners everywhere, almost in every state except maybe Alaska. I don't know. We have listeners everywhere. Dedicating our show today to Mary Ann. And Mary Ann, I know you're in Southern California, married to a wonderful gentleman, 41 years. I'm not allowed to give out your last name, but you know who you are. So coming up right now is one of my favorite topics, maybe in my top 5,000 topics of all time. And that is learning how to speak, learning how to present yourself. When I was 9 years old, and I was this big when I was 9. I'm 6'4" now, but I was this big when I was 9. I won a speech contest, and from that moment on, I was interested in speaking. I was interested in learning how to present myself better. And look, you know me. I'm not the brightest bulb on the tree, not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I've made a great life because I taught myself how to present myself better. I taught myself how to speak better, and I taught myself in my speaking environment how to inspire people. So even if I have a conversation at Starbucks, which I do every morning, I want people to go, that was a nice experience. So let me welcome to the show, because I know she's going to make a difference in your life. Her name is Mimi Donaldson. If you go to mimidonaldson.com, don't overload her website. Don't crash her website. But if you're looking to do better in your life, if you're struggling a little bit, if you've got a job interview coming up, if you got to present yourself, this is the lady that can help you do it. Welcome to Southern California. Welcome to KHTS AM 1220 and the show we call Job Talk 1. Mimi Donaldson, how are you, my dear?
I am great. Thank you for having me on.
And I went all through your website, and as you know, we had a little pre-interview this morning. Say hi to Tom Cairns. Tommy is fascinating to me because he had such a big job. He was the HR director for Homeland Security. And for almost 19 years, he was the HR director for NBC Studios. So he hired and fired a lot of famous people. So here's my first question to you. Why did you get interested in public speaking? Did you have a problem speaking as a young lady?
Oh, what a great question. Actually, I always loved talking. I was a talker. I got check marks on behavior in grade school because I couldn't stop talking. And I got interested in theater because my parents were interested in theater. So in high school I did plays, and I was never afraid to be on stage. And then I even did debate team in high school. And then in college I majored in drama, and I was going to be a famous Broadway actress. So I guess speaking was not scary for me. It was fun.
Well, speaking, first of all, let's turn the Facebook off because they can't hear Mimi's voice, Justin, which is sad. We'll have to figure that out. They can't hear your voice. But, you know, it's interesting, I won this speech contest from the Lions Club when I was 9. And then I took speech classes in high school, and then I thought I wanted to be an actor. So I took an acting class.
Well, you are a character, that's for sure.
Yeah, but if you talk to Mimi, she tells you it's people like me that actually make it in life. You didn't do too bad.
No, well, you know what Mimi's mentioning is for me as well is that that part of the drama background. Actually, when you think about it, a lot of times for us to do things that we're not comfortable doing, we need to think of it as a role, much like actors do or actresses. And that's what I do actually sometimes, where I'm a natural introvert, but there'll be areas where I have to be more extroverted, and I then think of and assume that role to do that. So
yeah. Show's called Job Talk 1. Our wonderful guest, Mimi Donaldson, and the title of your book is what?
Pitch Perfect.
And who would buy that book? Why would you buy that book? Everybody should buy that book.
Yeah, the subtitle says, Speak to Grow Your Business in 7 Simple Steps. So the natural audience that are my clients, because I'm a speech coach, are entrepreneurs, business owners who have to get up every single time they open their mouth. It's something about their business to draw people to their business. So the natural audience is entrepreneurs, but I've heard from people in every walk of life that say, oh, it helped me so much, because the whole first part is how do you calm the nerves when you have to speak either in an interview one-to-one or in front of 5 people or 50 people.
Let's do that. Let's get into that, because that is hitting the target right there. Most people, if you look at the fears, like I'm writing a book on fear, overcoming fear. I'm working real hard to overcome some of my fears. But the fear of public speaking is right there.
I think it's the number one fear, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, number 1, death is number 5. That's why Jerry Seinfeld joked that at a funeral you'd rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy. And that's a great joke.
That is.
So how do you, if you have to go and interview for a job, the show is called Job Talk 1, so we want people to do better, not only interviewing for a job, but how about interviewing for the promotion? People are observing you. How do you overcome those nerves, those anxieties?
Well, here is the number 1 way to overcome your nerves. And it's a mantra, and you need to believe it, and you need to say it to yourself. And it's 4 words. And they go like this. It's not about me. It's not. It's about connecting with them. So if you can get the attention off yourself, and think about, how can I connect? How can I get them to respond to me the way I want? If you think of it like that, that will guide you, whether you're speaking in an interview or for 50 people in a group. It's not about you. Nobody's thinking about you. They're thinking, what am I going to get from you? Why should I listen to you? What's in it for me? So the first thing out of your mouth has to be something in it for them. If you're going for a job interview or a promotion, you have to study the other person's needs so well that the first thing out of your mouth has to be something that they can go, yeah, we do need that. We could use more of that. So it's hard work. It's research. And it's finding out what need you will fill in that promotion. How many people's place can you take by your promotion? How much money can you save that company? That's hard work to find out, but that's what you have to find out.
Great answer, but Tommy has 10 questions. I want to make a statement, but you have to have the right technique. So one of my questions is, where do you start? But Tommy's got 10 questions. Here we go. Go.
Okay. Well, I won't fire all 10 of them at you at the same time. But in your book, and I mentioned off air, which Coach thinks I didn't, but I did read your book and loved it. And part of the aspect, and I would say to our listeners, is that Mimi has not only hit the subject matter, but she gives you real practical things and guides you through the creation of an elevator pitch, for example, and several other things. So you have practical tips, but you also have step by step. So I like that aspect of your book. And in your book, you mentioned a statistic where 80% of what we know as individuals comes to us visually, something that we see. And so we know the saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words. But sometimes words are all that we have to communicate. So I would ask you is how can we paint a picture, a better picture with our words?
Oh, gosh, that's my whole career. I was a keynote speaker for 30 years in front of audiences of thousands of people with celebrities on the same stage, and I had to be as good because I wasn't a big name. It's what are your words? And it's always, to me, it's the same advice. It's other-directed. It's not about what do I want to say to this person. What do I need to say? It's what do I want their reaction to be, and how am I going to get it? So, for instance, my first mantra is lead with their need. In other words, say a sentence where they can go, yeah, she knows us. She gets it. And that's how your words are important, but only as they relate to the audience. You don't want what I call whiplash. Whiplash is when the audience goes, huh? What? What are they saying? What does she mean by that? Ew, I'm confused. I don't like her. It's got to be simple enough for them to get it, but it has to relate to their need, their problem, or their situation.
Her name is Mimi Donaldson, and she's got a wonderful book out called Speak Perfect. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen,
Pitch Perfect.
Pitch Perfect. What's wrong with Speak Perfect?
I like Speak Perfect.
But the name of the book is Pitch Perfect. Pitch Perfect. And serious, ladies and gentlemen, listen to this lady. Pitch Perfect is her book. If your pitch isn't perfect, you're not going to get the job. If your pitch isn't perfect, you're not going to get the raise. If your pitch isn't perfect and you don't support your fellow employees, they're not going to support you. So a book like this is a game changer. It's called Pitch Perfect. The book sells for $10,000 on Amazon. Why would you pay $10,000 for a book? Because you're going to make $100,000 reading a book like this. How much does your book sell for? Don't sell it cheap, lady. How much?
Oh, it's $15.
$16. That's ridiculous. You need to raise the price. Get it up there.
No, it's $15.
All right.
And it's even less expensive on an ebook. You can go to Amazon and get Kindle or whatever it is.
That's what I did.
Yeah, is that what you did?
That's what I did.
Yeah, don't be cheap. Pay $16.
Well, I wanted it quickly.
If I was your agent, I'd move that price up to like $500 right off the bat. I'm telling you, a book like yours, one word, one phrase, a story in your book, I'll bet you is a game changer for people.
Let me ask you one other thing, Mimi, because in your book you spend a lot of time on elevator pitches, and I'm a firm believer in those. And you can tell and convince people that they are important in that, and they'll agree with you, yet they'll never put an elevator pitch together. And part of that aspect is that I think most people think that's never going to happen to me. I'm never going to be in that situation where somebody's going to turn to me and say, "What's your story?" And what do you say to somebody like that?
Well, it's usually in an elevator with people with name tags, and everybody knows that they are doing business. So people turn to each other, even in an office building where you're on an appointment, even to a doctor's appointment. And you're in the elevator, everybody's watching the numbers, but somebody does turn to you and say, "So what do you do?" They don't say, "What's your story?" Especially men. They don't want the story. They want to just know the bottom line. And they don't want you to go, you can't really go into it because you have like 5 seconds. It's not the 30-second pitch that you're going to do at a networking meeting. It's 5 seconds. So again, you look at the person and you say, well, you know how some people have problems speaking in front of a group? Just like that. That's what I do. And they go, "Yeah, my sister-in-law, she just can't do it." And I go, "Well, I can help with that." And then they say, "Well, what do you do?" And I say, "I'm a speech coach." "Oh, give me your card." And all you have time for is to give them your card because now they're on their floor.
Absolutely.
So,
we all need a speech coach. We all need a speech coach. We're talking to Mimi Donaldson. Her book is called Pitch Perfect. I would call it Speak Perfect, but she wants to call it Pitch Perfect.
I think it's in print already. So
that's her book, Pitch Perfect. And everybody, I mean, I don't care who you are. If you're listening to my voice and you have a nephew, a grandson, a granddaughter, somebody in a job, this is a perfect gift. I know it sounds like a pitch, but I can't be more serious, Tom. Learning how to present yourself is what will change your life.
It's one of the things that, quite frankly, in business school, they don't teach you enough on how,
they teach
how to
you
present.
nothing.
And
they teach you nothing.
And that's what I really enjoyed about reading the book was that there were very practical things that you're going to apply, whether it's in business or whatever sector of life you're in.
Well, we're not going to get into education right now, but you'd be better off hiring this lady. No, I'm serious.
Oh, yeah, no.
Having her mentor you.
Yeah.
So how do you get over the fright? So you've talked to big audiences. How did you calm your nerves? Be honest. Were you a drinker, booze? How was it? What?
Me?
Yeah, was it booze? How did you calm your nerves?
I've never been nervous unless somebody makes me nervous. So the one time I was nervous, it was going to be, there's 7,500 people. They were insurance salespeople. And this guy took me by both shoulders. If he's ever listening, he'll know exactly who he is. I was just about to go on, and you know, with a 7,500-person audience in a big convention center, it was in Toronto, but most of the people were from the States. and the echo, and it's big, and the lights, the production was amazing. And so I'm about to go on, and he takes me by the shoulders, and he looks me in the eye, and he's about 2 inches from my nose. And he says, Mimi, this is going to be the most important speech of your life. And I got so nervous. And I said to him, don't tell me that before I go on. This is a terrible idea.
I know. I used to do public speaking. I've done, like you, a lot of keynotes, a lot of luncheon speaks. One year I spoke over 200 times. And on these big speeches, I sometimes I'd hyperventilate. Sometimes I'd have to go out in the, I'm going on in 1 minute, and all of a sudden I'm starting, all of a sudden I'm starting to hyperventilate. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? So I taught myself, if I had a big audience, I would focus on one person, just what you said a few minutes ago. I'd focus on one person in the audience, and I would talk to them. And that's how I got over my fright.
That's good. That's good. You want your eye contact to sort of be more than that, so that that one person won't feel so horrible. Because I've once stared at someone and they sort of were checking themselves out. Why is she staring at me? So you have to kind of get your eye contact a little bit, but it's that same 4 words. It's like, it's not about me. What do I want my audience to feel? What's that first sentence? How do I want them to respond? And if I think of that, I don't get nervous.
Well, I like what you said, lead with their need. I love that. We're going to come right back and finish up with Mimi Donaldson. God, a half an hour goes so fast. The show is called Job Talk 1, brought to you by Workway. If you want to find a better job, if you want to do better in your job, they'll do a lot of the work for you. Just go to workway.com. Check them out, workway.com. We're going to come right back. And the question that I'm going to ask Mimi is a question that might make her feel a little uncomfortable, but I have to ask it. So come on back. You're gonna hear the question. So I don't mean to make you feel uncomfortable, but I've got to ask this question.
You're making me nervous.
Yeah. We'll come right back on the show we call Job Talk 1 here in Southern California, on one of the great radio stations in the country, KHTS AM 1220. Don't forget, we have a great app, a great app. I know Mary Ann's listening to it on the app, right? Go into the App Store, download KHTS 1220 AM. We'll be right back. Our show dedicated to Mary Ann today, and I can't give you her last name for security reasons, but Mary Ann, thank you for listening to our show and all your wonderful comments. And also, just got a whole bunch of, last week we broke our all-time, I didn't tell you this, we broke our all-time views on Facebook, over 500.
Wow.
Our previous was 478.
Wow.
So my Facebook listeners, my Twitter, thank you so much. I know that you love the show called Job Talk 1. We're going to be on daily all across the country here very, very soon. We'll give you the dates and the times and the stations. But right now we're on KHTS, our flagship station here in Southern California, and you can download the app. So people, my wife says all the time, what do you and Tom talk about during the break? I'm going to tell you right now what I said during the break. I said, don't be cheap. That it's amazing. You take a professional ball player, Tom, they have a masseuse. Everything they're doing is being filmed. They've got a speech coach. They've got a swing coach. They have probably 9 people to help them do better in the job. And most people are so cheap, they won't hire anybody. And the most important person you probably can hire is this lady, Mimi Donaldson. And it's not a plug for her. No, I'm not plugging you, Mimi. Trust me. I'm plugging the idea that spend $16 and buy her book. It's called Pitch Perfect. Don't be cheap, because cheap people don't make it. Her book is called Pitch Perfect. And anyway, that's what we were talking about during the break, is that people, the average person just doesn't want to. Huh?
I said people need to realize it's an investment in themselves.
Yeah, people don't invest in themselves. I don't get it. Anyway, I'm frustrated. I'm not going to even go there. So we only have a couple minutes left. I'm going to have you back because I love your voice, and you got great stories. So you never did tell us how you calm yourself down. You told us about where the guy got in your nose.
Oh.
It's the same story where in the World Series. Never mind. I'm going to talk about sports. But how do you calm yourself down before you have to give a presentation?
I'm not nervous, because I'm thinking about the audience and what they're going to get, and the fact that they're excited, And I do something that I learned a long time ago from Inner Tennis. Remember that book a long time ago? And you picture.
I read that book. I read that book, Inner Tennis.
Yeah, you picture your swing, and you picture the ball going over the net in tennis. But in speaking, you picture audiences laughing, and at the end they give you a standing ovation. And I picture that, and that's what happened.
It's interesting you say that, because I have a chapter in my book talking about looking at the other side in overcoming fear. Most people who have fear are only focused on the bad things. They never focus on the good things. So if you have the fear of flying, like I did, I was always.
So did I.
Yeah, I was always focused on what could happen, what all the bad things. But then when I started focusing on all the great things, taking trips with my family, going to fabulous places, doing fabulous things, I got over the fear of my flying by myself.
You know what cured me was sitting in a jump seat once and learning that this plane was made to fly.
Really?
The toughest thing was keeping the plane on the ground.
Yeah,
I'm serious. The
whole flying thing just.
I mean, there's a variety of different things,
more of the whole thing is crazy. I mean, Mimi, we're going to have you back, girl. We only have 2 minutes left, and our show's brought to you by Workway. The show's called Job Talk 1. So glad that you're on with us, and so glad that.
Oh, I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to hear something really funny about flying, listen to, maybe you can get it on YouTube. Louis C.K. does a routine about flying, and he says, you're in a chair, in the air, and the way he does it, you are just, it's hilarious.
What's the guy's name? I'm going to look at it. What's the guy's name?
Louis C.K. He's a very famous comedian. He has his own show. Louis
C.K. L-E-W? L-E-W?
L-O-U-I-S, and then C.K. And it's so funny. It's about his fear of flying, and you'll be totally laughing, and maybe you will get over your fear.
Well, it's an honor to meet you. It's an honor to have you on Job Talk 1. We're going to have you back many times. You have so much to say, so many good things to help people do better in their life. That's what our show's about, inspiring people to do better in their jobs, inspiring people. As you said on our interview a few minutes ago, people have to stretch, and one of the things they have to do is get better at public speaking. So Mimi Donaldson, MimiDonaldson.com, her name of her book is Pitch Perfect. We'll see you down the road. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You betcha. All right, Tommy. Fastest hour.
It is.
In show business. We'll see you down the road.
Two great guests.
Yeah. You and Mimi. Bye.